Hi everyone, my name is Paul. Welcome to this video. What I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to walk you through how I would find a flip opportunity in the UK, or one way of finding a flip opportunity in the UK. And then what we're really going to focus in on is the analysis of that opportunity. So what sort of numbers do we need to look at? The refurb, will dive into that part of things as well, obviously with it being a flip. And then how we come to a decision. So I'm going to walk you through absolutely every single step that I would follow if I was sourcing opportunities for myself or for a third party, for a property investor as a deal sourcer. So whether you're an investor or a property sourcer in the UK, this video is going to walk you through the entire process from start to finish. So let's dive into the first part, which is Rightmove. I'm going to start on Rightmove. And I'm going to pick actually an area purely because one of my mentees that I mentor, she's based in and around the Northeast, and she said, "Okay, let's see if you can find. If you're going to do a walkthrough, could you please do it in my area? And let's see if you could find a flip on Rightmove." And she didn't think I'd be able to find a flip on Rightmove, so hopefully we can prove her wrong, and let's see how this goes. So the area is Gateshead in Tyne Wear. So that's where we're going to look. So we're going to search there. And then we've got some search filters that we're going to put in. So this area only, property types, we're only looking at houses. Price range, let's look up to 150,000. Hopefully that's enough. I'm not sure about property prices in Gateshead. It's not my area. Number of bedrooms, minimum 2. Not that you get many one-bed houses. And I'm going to click search. So what we want to do is arrange the prices by lowest price first. And then we want to go into the filters because there's a few things we don't want. So if I was looking for a flip, I would only look at freehold properties. I would avoid the leasehold and share of freehold. And what we don't want to show, we don't want to see new homes, obviously. We don't want to see retirement homes, buying schemes, or auction properties. Although you could leave auction properties unticked, but what I'm trying to do is avoid auctions for the purpose of this video. And then we're going to click done. We've got 49 results. So let's start. Let's have a look. So this property looks in really good condition. There's not really a flip. That screams flip. Look at this. Let's have a look at this one. So wow. So we've got a bit of damp on the wall there, the black marks on the wall. We've got a lovely wooden ceiling. It looks like a lodge. And when I say lovely, I don't mean lovely, I mean horrendous. Obviously. That's actually not in too bad condition. The floorboards look really, really good. They'd be good polished up. I like that. That's the front garden, I think, because that was the front gate on the initial picture. Wow, they really like the wood. Oh my God, that is horrendous. Why did people do this to their houses? Why? We've got an electric, I think that's an electric socket up there above the door, just to the right of the door, which is kind of like a walk-in wardrobe. That's, again, another monstrosity, but these are the types of things that we like when we're looking for flips. Okay. So I'm guessing this is looks like a shutter, like a garage door. I'm guessing that's not attached to the house because I didn't see a garage attached to the side of the house. I'm guessing that's in the garden. We've got more wood in the bathroom. That's a bit of an odd layout, isn't it? Toilet literally at the end of the bath. But I guess they're making the best use of the space. So there's that. So they've got a garage, come shed, come storage space in the garden. Garden's really quite small. It's not really a garden at all. but you know, not too bad. You can pressure wash that up, put some pots about, make the best use of the space. Some people don't like gardens, do they? You'd be surprised, actually, the amount of houses I see online these days, and the gardens are all flagged, all paved over. I think it's sacrilege. I love gardening, so I hate it when I see a back garden and it's just flags. But each to their own. Yeah, that wood is something else. It really is. But these are the types of things you're looking for with flips. You're looking for things that you can easily change. You just wonder with wood paneling like this, it's probably been up there since I would say the early 80s, maybe even longer. You wonder what's behind it in terms of you could start peeling the wood off the walls and take the plaster with it. Who knows? Oh, that room's actually in pretty good nick, the downstairs. Okay, so that property, 85,000. So if we go to sold house prices, where was it? Carhill Road. And we go to sold house prices. We stick the address in there. Carhill Road, it was Gateshead, NE9, search. Okay, so we've got some different types of houses. One here, some new builds, some. Not really seeing anything that's similar to our house. Let's have a look. How many beds have we got? We've got two beds. There's no floor plan, unfortunately. And it's 85,000. Let's look at the description. Okay, so we've got a 2-bed at 85,000. Let's go back to that sold prices. So let's look for 2-bed. So that's a 2-bed, but that's a newer style of property, 105. In fact, so that's a newer style of property, and that's done. So we can all agree that's, it's a modern-ish kitchen. It's decorated. It's move-in ready. There's not much value to be added there. So you would say, wow, freestanding bathroom. Expect a big bathroom in a house like that. It's got a good-sized garden as well. Yeah, newer style house. 2-bed, 1 bath, semi-detached. And ours is 2-bed, 1 bath, semi-detached. 85, and that sold for 105 in 2024. It doesn't feel like or sound like that would be potential, because by the time you refurb this property, which does need some serious attention in terms of it needs a new kitchen, new bathroom. In fact, we haven't got a picture of the kitchen, have we? But I'm going to assume it needs a new kitchen. It needs a new bathroom. It needs all this wood taken off. It's probably going to need skimming in the rooms where the wood is. It might need... so look at this. That looks like, to me, just behind that door in the bedroom, that looks like to me like it's an electric socket. Now, when you get electric sockets on skirting boards, typically you're going to need a rewire. So whenever I see that, I factor in a rewire of that property. Let's see if we can spot anywhere else in the property. Yeah. Yeah, we've got them in the downstairs in the lounge area as well. Electric sockets on the skirting board. They will need moving up, and it will probably need a rewire. Yeah, you can see there as well, and over here. So yeah, I think with that one, it's 85. You would have to pay a lot less than 85 to make the numbers stack if you've got a newer style property that looks bigger, certainly a bigger bathroom that we seen there in the images. It looks like a bigger property, even though it is 2 beds. And that's sold for 105. So I just don't, there's not enough room in that. So let's go back to the search. So where were we? So that was the second one down. So that's done. Not enough really needing doing in there. That one, dun dun dun. There's only one photo. Again, what I'm looking for when I'm scooting through these is I'm looking for a property that definitely needs a refurb. We're not looking for things that we could do with a new kitchen. We're not really interested in that. We're looking at forcing the appreciation. So we've got to find something that's properly ugly. Properly ugly. So let's look at this one. So Glanton Close, 110. Conservatory, by the look of things, yeah. Kitchen definitely needs updating. That's a bit nasty. Sockets are on the walls. Good sign, just above the skirting board there. But we've got sockets above walls. That's a good sign. And there again. Yeah, it definitely needs a new kitchen. It's just in a state of disrepair, isn't it? Tired. Very tired. Ooh, nasty. So obviously this is a wet room. You can see there. So with wet rooms, if you've ever come across these before, they're pretty simple to change, to be honest, to change back into a standard bathroom where you can put a shower in there. So essentially what has to happen is you have to take up the waterproof floor, level off the flooring, sort out the plumbing, the pipes, because you don't want access to a drain there. Obviously the drain would have to move. So there's a bit of plumbing to do before you actually start installing the new bathroom suite. So yeah, it's just really tired, isn't it? Good. It looks like a good sized garden though. You've got wow. Okay. It looks like a good sized garden. So let's go back. So that's a 2-bed again. 2-bed, 1 bath. And the agent, excellent first-time buyers. I don't know first-time buyers that would take that on. First-time buyers tend to be quite picky and want a half-decent home. This needs a full refurb. We are in receipt of an offer of 100,000 accepted subject to contract for this property. Anyone wishing to place a higher offer must do so before legal exchange of contract. So it's on for 110 for the reason being they've already got an offer accepted subject to contract. So clearly somebody else is looking at it with the mindset of flipping this. So let's look at this. Glancing Close. Let's go back to sold prices. Glancing Close, Gateshead. 37, 2025, 2-bed. Glancing Close, 37. Sold for 140. Okay. So it's, hang on a minute, number 37. So it's this one, it's not the end one. So this is a mid, and our one we're looking at is an end terrace with a big front garden and a big back garden. So ours is bigger. So this is promising. So 2-bed, Let's look at the condition. Nice. When you compare that actually to this, that room, just shows you what you can do, doesn't it? It's like the finished version. So it's essentially the same house inside, which is good because it's a direct comparable in terms of house. Garden's really small because it's a mid. It's really, really small. And again, that's my bugbear. They've flagged the garden. But yeah, nice front door. Nice. So they've opened it up, obviously downstairs. They've took down this wall here and opened up the kitchen living space. So nice kitchen, really nicely done. Looks like they've converted the loft. Okay, so there's one bedroom. There's a second. Yeah, okay. Bathroom, much better. Much, much better. Are we going to see in the loft? Oh, okay. And they've put the windows in the loft space as well. So they're not utilising that space as a bedroom. It would be difficult to. I wouldn't be classed as a bedroom most likely because the access is not permanent access. It's a loft ladder. They're using it as obviously a gym workout space. But it's nicely done. But just shows you what can be done with these houses, doesn't it? So the fact that it's this one and it's not an end one, I like this. I'm liking this one. This one's got promise. Okay, so this one sold for 140 in February of 2025. So we haven't got a floor plan. So we need to check the EPC. So I've already got a window open for EPCs. Start. Domestic property. Continue. What was the NE10 8UH? That's the postcode of Glanton Close. So if we put that in, bosh. Oh, we don't know what ours is. What's the number? What's the number? So we need to know the size of the property. So if we can see it there, that looks to me like a 4 and a 2. Yeah, looks like a 4 and a 2. So ours is number 42, the end one. So if we go and find, so we've got 37. So they're actually really close to each other as well. Where are we going? So if we go to this 37, copy this. Copy the postcode. Go on the EPC register. Stick in the postcode of here. What we want to do is find number 37. And that tells us 53 square meters. And ours that we're looking at is bigger, 58.7. Most likely because of the conservatory. Yeah, most likely because of that. So 58.7. Right, so let's run this through the deal calculator. So we click on the flip analyzer, and that's it. So what's the number again? What is the number of that property? 42, wasn't it? We've seen it on the wheelie bins. Number 42. 42. Glanton Close. Glanton Close. Okay, so purchase price, it says they've got an offer of 100,000, doesn't it, on the advert? So we're going to go in, even though it says 110 on Rightmove, we're going to go in at 105. And the expected sale price, so let's go over to the square meter valuation. So we know the comparable we've seen earlier on that sold, 37 Glanton Close, over 140,000 in 2025. So if we put 140,000 in there, and don't forget that was a mid-terrace, wasn't it? So the size of that property. So if we go over to the EPC register, we'll find, you can search for what type of property is certificate for. It's a domestic property. Click continue, and then we need to put in the postcode of the address. And then we know it's number 37. So on here, it tells us 53 square meters. So we go back to the calculator. So the comparable size is 53 square meters. And we know the size of our property is 58.7 square meters, which gives us an estimated value of 155 to 170,000 pounds. And that's the price per square meter. Now that's obviously just a guide, but if we went somewhere in the middle, and we said that that property was going to sell for, let's say, 160. Let's say 160. I think that's fair enough, given that everything's going to be nice and shiny and brand new again. Let's also calculate the stamp duty. We are in England, in Gateshead, so auto calculate. So we're going to pay £3,000 in stamp duty. Right, so now we've got the cost of buying. So we have 1,500 there for solicitor purchase. Solicitor sale, we'll stick the same price in. Survey valuation won't be that much, 300. And if we said broker fee was maybe £500, and if you're using our calculator and you hover over these eyes, you can see and get guidance on what these costs might be. For the purpose of this flip, what I'm doing is I'm assuming it's a cash purchase. Now with flips, typically it would be cash or bridging. It wouldn't be a mortgage, because a mortgage is long-term finance, and this is a short-term thing because we're going to buy the property, refurb it, flip it, sell it. So a traditional mortgage will not suffice, will not work. So we're going to go with cash purchase on this, and refurb costs. So we can just put in a figure there and have a contingency and, guess what the refurb costs are. But we've got a refurb cost tab up at the top. Now, if we change that to square meters, we already know our property is 58.7, I think. Was it? Square meters, 58.7. That was our property. So 58.7 square meters for a medium refurb, which would be new kitchen, bathroom, rewire, new boiler, plastering, decoration throughout. Now, I don't think it needs a rewire. I don't think it needs a new boiler. Potentially, it may or may not do, but we're going to say no. Plastering, yes, maybe some plastering will need to take place. Decoration throughout, yes, certainly, and a new kitchen and bathroom. So I would say medium is fair enough. And that gives you an estimated refurb cost of between 31.5 and 50k. Now, we definitely don't want to be paying 50k, or ideally would like to get it under the 31, because this is accounting for you needing a rewire and a new boiler and some bits that we don't need. So let's come down into the refurb cost planner, where everything is broken out into its individual jobs. So if we hover over the eye, it gives us information based on what each of these things will cost based on the latest data within the UK. So let's go through it. So where are we at? So yeah, in terms of what we want to look at first, obviously we're not going to carry out any structural work, roof work, damp proofing. Doesn't seem to be an issue with damp in the property. Brickwork, masonry, we're all good there. Full rewire and electrical works. Obviously, we looked at the property and we know that the electric sockets are not on the skirting boards. They are on the walls, which is a big tick. Typically, you would assume that the electrics are okay if that's the case. That's not a given, but that's what we're assuming at this stage. Plumbing and heating, we're going to assume that the boiler's okay. Obviously, you can't tell from the the images that we've seen on Rightmove, you can't tell. So we may need to put some spending there later. But for now, let's leave that blank. And then we're on to the most expensive part of any flip, most of the time anyway. So we've got kitchen supply and fit. So if we hover over that, it says for a budget kitchen at Howdens and Wicks, your basic range we're talking about, supply and fit between 3.5 and 5k. Mid-range with laminate worktops, integrated appliances, we're talking 5.5 to 9 grand. High-end with quartz worktops, 10 grand, 15 grand. Now we're flipping this. We're not going to put high-end quartz worktops in or the Silestone or anything like that and bump up the prices. So we'll go somewhere, with a modest kitchen. Let's say we're going to put in a 5 grand kitchen. We've got a 5 grand spend there. Bathrooms typically, I normally say, 5 to 6 grand. But in this case, because it is such a small bathroom, we'll assume £4,000. Ensuite, we're not that lucky. We don't have an ensuite in this house. Plastering. So So a whole house skim on a 3-bed between 2 grand and 3.5 grand. Now, this is a 2-bed. So if we said, it's not going to cost 2 grand, is it? So 1,500. If we budget 1,500 for the plastering, because it is a 2-bed, not a 3-bed. Flooring. So we got carpet, £15 to £30 per square metre as an average. Based on the size of the house, we're going to assume somewhere in the middle. We'll go with £20 a square metre, which would give us 1,450. There's flooring, decoration and painting. A 3-bed, it says there, full internal decoration, walls, ceilings, woodwork on a 3-bed would run between £2,000 and £4,000 using a decorator to do it. Now, you could trim off a lot of the cost there by doing the decoration and painting work yourself. Who hasn't picked up a paintbrush in their life before and done a bit of wallpapering? Now, I'm not the biggest DIY guy out there. I'm not handy. My wife always points out, I wish you were more handy. DIY is just not my thing. I touch things and they break. It's a well-known fact. So yeah, you could shave off a lot of these costs by doing it yourself. But if we run on a 3-bed, full internal decoration is 2 to 4k. So if we said £1,700 there, that's more than enough. But we could do that for virtually cost of the materials if we want. Internal doors and joinery. If we are planning to open up the property downstairs, so you've got your living space and your kitchen, we're going to take that wall down. Then internal doors and joinery. You've got no doors downstairs in terms of internal doors because you've got your front door and your back door, and that's it. It's upstairs, so you've got 2 bedrooms and a bathroom, 3 doors. So I would say maximum £400 for internal doors. External doors look okay. The windows looked okay. Obviously, you would go on a viewing and confirm the condition of these things up close when you're there. External decoration, we're not going to worry about that with this property. Where you might spend some money is obviously the garden. Let's stick £1,000 in there because it did need the shrubs trimming back. It needed, a pressure washer across the flags out the back there and a bit of a tidy up. So I think £1,000 should be covering that work that's needed in the garden to tidy that up for a sale. In terms of professional fees and miscellaneous fees, you've got architect, structural engineer, building regs, planning, scaffolding, skip hire, waste removal. The only one we're really going to focus on there is the skip hire waste removal. Skips are so expensive. Remember when skips just used to be like 70, 80 quid? So yeah, we'll budget there. Yeah, we'll stick 500 quid in there as that. So we've got a refurb now, subtotal before the contingency. We've got refurb cost of 15,550, 10% contingency. Now, contingencies typically with flips depends on the the condition of the property. If it's an absolute wreck, and you know you're going to be knocking the property back to brick, 15% contingency all day long, maybe even a little bit more. But for this, it's light decoration. There's nothing major, nothing massively, concerning with the images. At this stage, I would be happy with a 10% contingency, which takes it up to £70,000. So if we scroll back up to the top and click on Deal Calculator, we scroll down to refurb cost. So it's got it there. It's carried it across from the other page. There's your refurb. There's your contingency. And then we move on to holding and selling costs. Now, 6 months is kind of the average. It's the marker really for flips, because although you can turn around the refurb really, really quick and get the thing back on the market super quick, it's the conveyancing, it's the selling process that takes the time. Even if you get offer accepted within days of going on the market, as soon as those solicitors get involved, it's going to slow right down. So if we average out, we're looking at about 6 months holding period. Council tax monthly. Empty properties may be exempt from council tax for up to 6 months, but rules vary by the local authority. Now we're in Gateshead, so property where no one lives that is substantially unfurnished can receive a discount. The discount award is 100% and can last up to 1 month. So from the sound of that, it looks like they'll give you a 1 month grace period. It's worth a phone call to the council. Let's click on there. Property is owned by tenants. Which cannot be occupied. With a mortgage bank. So yeah, you would have to ring the council and get some feedback on that. But if we go back to this and we go council tax, it normally says on Rightmove what council tax band it is. Band A council tax, band A council tax band A Gateshead. 180 over 12 months, £150. So let's go back to here. So £150. So £150. Utilities, obviously we're going to need some utilities, gas, electric, water, because we're going to be refurbing the property. Insurance, got to be careful with this. This is critical. You must have specialist unoccupied or renovation insurance during a flip. Standard home insurance is invalidated on empty or properties that are being refurbished. So budget £50 to £100 a month. So stuck it in the middle there, 75. Other monthly holding costs, no. Estate agent fee, selling costs, 1%. A staging or photography, no, the agent will be doing that. We're not going to stage the property. Other selling costs will be 0. Other selling costs might be an EPC. It might need an EPC. It might need a gas safety. It might need an electrical certificate. It could need a few things, but we're going to go with 0. And then we're going to click calculate. And this is the AI feedback on the deal calculator. So it scores out of 100, gives it 72 out of 100 based on all the information that we've just input there. The refurb percentage of the GDV is a strong point. £27,375 profit potential. Consider if this could also work as a B.R.R. for ongoing cash flow. So, you could go and throw those numbers into the B.R.R. analyzer and have a look at them as a buy, refurb, refinance. Based on these assumptions, the flip shows reasonable potential with some areas to watch. 27,375 projected profit is workable, but keep a close eye on refurb timelines and costs in your planning. Every extra month adds finance and holding costs that reduce the projected profit. Now, obviously, we're cash, so there's no finance costs. So we've got a gross profit at 27,375. Return on investment on all costs, 20%. Cash return, 20.6% on cash in. And then you've got the breakdown It breaks out your costs, your acquisition, finance costs are zero because we've said we're cash buyers, the refurb costs, holding costs for 6 months, selling costs, and then we've got the total all-in cost. So the cash to do the deal will be 132,625. So on the face of it, that looks like a really good potential flip. We managed to find one in Gateshead on Rightmove. Now, normally with flips, what I would say is I would generally go to looking at auction houses, because it's not just about forcing appreciation and adding value with a flip. Obviously, it's about what you pay for the property in the first place. So, imagine you could get maybe £10,000-15,000 off of that if it was at auction. You're baking in a lot more profit into your deals. So the stuff on Rightmove, yes, you can find a flip. We just found one giving you a 20% cash return, 20% return on investment, gross profit 27 grand before tax. Yeah, they exist. It's good numbers. It's not the deal of the century. 72 out of 100 is the score, and obviously you just got to watch the refurb costs. Now, some other bits on this deal calculator that I'm using, which is my deal calculator, is schedule of works. So what you would put in here is the property address, which is 42 Glanton Close. So we pop that in there again. So we give it a name and start date. Let's say today. What are we? April 2nd. How on earth is it April already? I do not understand. April 2026, and we're looking at a target completion date of April, May, June, July, August to September. And we'll just put end of August. In fact, we'll put and then you put your name, or you can actually put your builder's name, or you could put project manager's name in there. And then what would happen is you can download that as a schedule of works, and you can print that schedule of works, and you can give it to your contractor to follow, which is really nice. And then we've got contractor checklist. So your contractor is the single biggest risk factor on any flip that you do. A bad contractor can cost you your profit, your timeline, and your sanity. And touch wood, I've been lucky over my 20 years in property, but I know I've got mentees who've sometimes made a mistake and employed and trusted the wrong contractor, and it's not nice. It's really not a nice experience. So this is a bit of a due diligence checklist for you to carry out. So we've got initial due diligence checks. Check they've got public liability insurance. There's some information there. Employees liability insurance. Do a company's house search on the company and the individual. Google reviews and online reputation as well. Social media presence. Check they've got one. They haven't just set up the social media last week. Always a red flag. Website check again. You can carry out some checks there, and there's some information. References from previous clients. Don't just take the builder, face value. And visit a live site. Are they doing anything at the moment? Could you pop along and just have a look and make sure that they're actually on that site? And it gives you a sense of how they run the site. Is it tidy? Is it organized? Is it complete chaos? Because you definitely don't want that on your job, on your project. And then we've got a secondary kind of set of things, which is agreeing payment terms with the contractor. Never pay the money all up front. Now, the amount of people that do this is absolutely astonishing. I hear about it all of the time. Paid my builder and I paid them X amount of money and they've disappeared. It happens. It does happen. You've got to be careful. Protect yourself. mitigate the risks. When we're refurbing and when we're, analyzing deals, what all we're doing is mitigating risk. We're looking for areas that are going to cost us money, and then we're trying to mitigate the cost as much as we possibly can to chip them down to increase the profit. And then we just employ any old builder, and we agree any old terms, and seriously, the risk mitigation goes right the way through the project, from analysing the property, buying the property, refurbing the property, agreeing terms with the contractor, and managing the project itself. Literally everything. You have to be in control if you are flipping properties. So agreeing payment terms, mobilization or materials deposit, you give 10 to 20%, so they can go and buy materials and get them on order. Stage 1 payment, typically. Stage 2 payment, practical completion payment on a handover, minus a bit of the fee, because you'll want to snag. So typically on these projects, there'll be bits and pieces of jobs around the house, around the property, that will need finishing off. Something that's not quite done to the standard it should be, or something that was done incorrectly, or something that's just not finished. You always hang back, and then when you're happy, then you pay the last payment. Always agree the payment terms in writing before the work begins, ideally within the contract that you have with them as well. Don't ever do things on the shake of a hand, or, well, it's all right because it's so-and-so and they kind of know who they are. They're a friend of a friend of a friend. Don't go there. It's your own risk. Don't go there. Don't do it. Protect yourself. Sleep at night. Take it easy. Don't give yourself unnecessary stress that you don't need. Next bit, building contracts, what to use and why. So we've got some JCT homeowner contract, a simple letter of agreement, a schedule of work contract for small jobs under 5k, JCT for jobs of 5 to 50k, minor works building contract for jobs of 20 to 150 grand, depending on what's included. We've got some information there regarding that, and then a bit of a checklist, what a good contract should include, and some guidelines there. And you can download that contractor checklist, print it off, and kind of have it with you when you're looking for your contractors and you're going through it, just to make sure you've got your ducks in a row and you're employing the right person for the job. So that's the deal calculator. That's how I would approach finding a flip. On Rightmove, at least, anyway. Obviously, you can look in different areas and try and get off-market deals and via agents before they hit Rightmove. Auctions are amazing for flip properties in the sense of post-auction offers and pre-auction offers. So when a property goes into auction, sometimes it doesn't sell. And then what have you got? You've got a motivated vendor then, who's even more motivated to sell because they put it into an auction and it didn't sell, and they were expecting it to sell, most likely. So yeah, it's just a case of analysing the numbers correctly. If you want access to this deal calculator, then click the link below this video and you can get access to this deal calculator and our other deal calculators as well. Because we've got Flip Analyzer, Buy-to-Let, B.R.R.R, HMO, SA, and the other tools and the other things that you see on here. You can join Property Accelerator Pro if you're not already a member. Click the link below and find out more about Property Accelerator Pro and all the tools and things that you can do with it in there. It's essentially a CRM system for property investors and also property sources. So if you're either of those, then this software is going to be something that would be a big plus, for you running your business and making decisions faster. That's the whole point of Property Accelerator Pro. Get to the answers quicker. And with the deal calculator, this loads up on mobile really good, to the point of you can take this, have this up on your phone while you're doing a viewing, going round, adding in your refurb costs based on the condition of the property. And literally, before you've even left the property, you've hit calculate, and you know if it's a deal or not, and you've got some feedback right away, right there, all the numbers, bang, you've analysed the deal while you did a viewing. How awesome is that? It beats the spreadsheet hands down every day of the week. So if you want access to it, click the link below or drop me a message and reach out.